BP for Hodier and straight black pride, brothers and sisters. This is your brother DC Radical One with another radical report. And today we're going to discuss the Blaxit from the Biden administration. And this article comes from Politico.com. It says Biden sees exodus of black staffers and some frustration among those who remain. So let's take a look at it here. It says at least 21 staffers have left the White House since late last year or are planning to leave soon. Some of those who remain say it's no wonder why. They describe a work environment with little support from their superiors and fewer chances for promotion. The departures have been so pronounced that according to one current and former White House official, some black aides have adopted a term for them, Blaxit. Now let's stop right there, brothers and sisters. Now, we know that black people made up a significant part of the voting block for the that allowed Biden to win the election. It has been reported that black people made up over 20% of the votes for Biden in the general election, and also in South Carolina allowed him to take the lead in the primary election. And I believe the black voting population, Democratic voting population, is 60% there. So very much so, black people have a large hand in Mr. Biden becoming president. So some of these staffers, I believe, were thought that they would be working in a different environment, and it seems that they have been quite mistaken. So let's take a look at what's going on inside the administration. It says the first big exit came in December when Kamala Harris's senior advisor and chief spokesperson, Simone Sanders, announced she was leaving, ultimately for a gig at MSNBC. Since then, Harris senior aides Tina Flournoy, Ashley Etienne, and Vincent Evans, and public engagement head Cedric Richmond have all left. Public engagement aide Carissa Smith, gender policy aide Kalisha DeSources Figures, National Security Council Senior Director Linda Etam, Digital Engagement Director Cameron Trimble, Associate Counsel Funmi Olorunipa Badejo, excuse me for butchering these names, Chief of Staff Ron Klain, Advisors Elizabeth Wilkins and Niyat Mulugeta, Press Assistant Natalie Austin, National Economic Council aides Joelle Gamble and Connor Maxwell, and Presidential Personnel aides Danielle Okai, Reggie Greer, and Rayshawn Dyson have all departed too. Deputy White House Counsel Danielle Conley and Council of Economic Advisors aide Sahara Griffin are among those planning to leave in the coming weeks, according to White House officials. The exodus has raised concerns among outside observers who push for the diversification of government ranks. I have heard from an exodus of black staffers from the White House, Blaxit, and I am concerned, said Spencer Overton, president of the Joint Council for Political and Economic Studies, which tracks government staff diversity numbers. Black voters accounted for 22%, as I said earlier, of President Biden's voters in November 2020. It is essential that black staffers are not only recruited to serve in senior, mid-level, and junior White House positions, but are also included in major policy and personnel decisions and have opportunities for advancement. Let's stop right here again. Now, the administration has been in place since January of 2021, and A year and a half later, we have a mass exodus of black advisors of various positions, and seemingly a mood of discontent for black people working in the White House overall. Now, I will say this: I do not find this surprising in the least, because again, Mr. Biden has a history of questionable statements that he makes in regards to black people. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at a quick clip as a reminder of some of Mr. Biden's public gaffes, if you will. We're going to look at this clip from his interview with Charlemagne the God from the Breakfast Club back when Mr. Biden was running for the election.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community. I would love to see.
Take a look at my record, man. I extended the voting rights 25 years. I have a record that is second to none. The NAACP has endorsed me every time I've run. I mean, come on. Take a look at the record.
You know, I've been critical of you. I have a few things I want to talk to you about.
I know you have.
Yeah.
You don't know me.
No, I don't. That's why I want to get to know you today. I want to talk to you about mostly black stuff.
I get overwhelming support from the black leadership, young and old. Every poll shows me way ahead.
And black people saved your political life in the primaries this year. They have things they want from you. And one of them is a black woman running mate. What do you say to them?
What I say to them is that I'm not acknowledging anybody who is being considered, but I guarantee you there are multiple black women being considered. We've seen it more clearly now. In a black majority county, they're 6 times more likely to die in the pandemic than a white county. They're disproportionately uninsured in the African American community, disproportionately make up the essential jobs that.
Now, we can see from that short clip that, I mean, this was clear political pandering. The way he was speaking, the fact that he would say, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Joe Biden does not speak in this manner normally. He changed his tone and his manner of speech to pander to black people. And it was very offensive. And despite this, and despite it going viral, and despite people seeing it, black people largely voted for him anyway. And then there was the whole discussion of black women and a black woman vice president. Again, we end up with Kamala Harris. Her racial background is extremely mixed, cloudy. She has been acknowledged as Asian several times. We know she's 50% Indian. Her father is mixed. That makes her less than 50% black, which means that, from my point of view, she's not black. You can't be less than 50% of something and be black. So while he may have been considering black women, we ended up with a non-black woman named Kamala Harris. So seeing all these things, black people should have seen the writing on the wall. But we do understand that getting a position in the White House is a prestigious position. It can set you up for further advancement. It's something great to have on your resume. And I'm sure they thought it would be a fantastic experience. These are very coveted positions here in Washington, D.C., and yet we see a lot of discontent. So let's return to the article. It says a White House official pushed back on those concerns, saying that around 14% of current White House staffers identify as black. It's interesting that they use the word identify. And of course, we don't know if these people are cooks or anything. It just says White House staffers. The official added that The number is expected to increase as more black staffers are brought on board, and at least 15% of black staffers have been promoted in the last year. That's 1 out of 6. So it's very difficult to see how that, because they don't make a comparison to other people. We have no idea whether that's good or bad. It's just throwing out random numbers here. It says the president is incredibly proud to have built what continues to be the most diverse White House staff in history, and he's committed to continuing historic representation for black staff and all communities, said White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre. This is a normal time for turnover across the board in any administration, and black staff have been promoted at a higher rate than staff who are not diverse. Of course, they didn't bring up any evidence for that statement, just made a statement. A number of staffers who left, moreover, said it was on good terms. Some departures were for graduate school opportunities. Others went to different cabinet departments. Several said they were leaving because of family matters. The source's figure said she wanted to focus on her young children, as did Connolly. But others described the need to refocus in general, having spent years operating in a tense work environment with little time off. I worked for both the president and vice president during the campaign cycle and considered the chance to serve the American people in the Biden-Harris White House nothing short of an honor, said Austin in an email. I loved my experience on the press team and left because I wanted the chance to spend more time with family after nearly 3 years straight of campaigns and government work. The reasons for departures may vary, naturally, but the totality of them has not gone unnoticed within the ranks. According to interviews with 9 current and former black White House officials, 3 black staffers who currently work in the White House and were granted an anonymity because of fear of reprisal. That's interesting. Said the exodus has hurt morale, compounding problems that exist elsewhere. They describe wow, just keeps jumping around on me here. They described an operation in which mentorship is hard to come by, and opportunity to move up the ranks of a tight-knit operation is exceptionally rare. We're here and we're doing a lot of work, but we're not decision makers. Let's read that again. We're here and we're doing a lot of work, but we're not decision makers. And there's no real path towards becoming decision makers, said one of the current black White House officials. There is no real feedback and there's no clear path to any kind of promotion. Biden has pledged upon entering office that his administration would look like America looks and include a full range of talents that we have in all our people. He and his team have subsequently taken steps to create the most diverse administration ever, far beyond immediate predecessors. He has also made history with the ascension of black women to the position of vice president. Again, Kamala Harris is not black. A Supreme Court justice and press secretary. A Supreme Court justice is married to a white man and on the Federal Reserve's Board of Governors, amongst other posts. I did not know that. But at lower levels, the pledge has been harder to sustain. While there are several first in history black leaders of important White House divisions, here we go with the first again, like Domestic Policy Council head Susan Rice, Council of Economic Advisors Director Cecilia Rouse, and Office of Management and Budget Director Shalonda Young, none have black deputies except Connolly. Connolly is leaving, though she'll be replaced by a black woman, a White House official said. Some people have not had the best experience with a lot of that has to do with the dearth of black leadership, said one former White House official who is black. Think about any workplace. Black folks need some person to go to strategize and be a mentor, and we just don't have as many folks who can mentor to us. Several black staffers pointed to the departure of Richmond as a particularly difficult blow. A second current Biden White House official described Richmond as a big brother and the voice of those folks, whose departure has left people a little nervous. A former Biden official who is black said Richmond was a nucleus of black staffers and that there's been no one to fill the void since he left. Let's stop right there. Now, what's interesting is they point to the black man, Mr. Richmond, as the nucleus and a big brother. So what we have here is a lot of black women being placed in positions where, prestigious positions, because the White House is prestigious. Whatever you're doing in the White House, it is prestigious for your career. But we see that they're in a position, essentially a powerlessness, and we see very few black men in the situation. So we have a bunch of black women underneath the white man, and then there is discontent about the way they are treated, as well as the few black men who are there. And then a black man who is seen as a big brother is currently leaving, and that's causing more discontent. Again, I have to say that I'm not surprised about this at all. I understand who Mr. Biden is. Mr. Biden is someone who has been friends with segregationists. James Byrd, who's somewhat a mentor to him in the Senate, was a Klansman. That's Mr. Biden's friend. So regardless of how much pandering Mr. Biden does and how much he talks about diversity and things like that, Mr. Biden's views on race, as we saw early in the clip, is like a lot of older white gentlemen, if you will, who have this paternalistic view of black people. And while they could say that they like us and things of that nature, they still view us as less than. And if you've been around the block long enough, you can see these things in them. The thing that I don't like about people like that is that they're disingenuous. Just give me the outright racist who says that he doesn't like me. I can tell him I also do not like him, and then we could agree to go our separate ways. But as long as we have people like Mr. Biden, who comes around and panders to us and says the things we like to hear, and then when it comes time to make good on those things, we see a lot of disappointment in black people. But one day black people will learn that the best way for us to go about accomplishing anything as a people is for us to do something for ourselves and to negotiate politically from a point of strength by having the option to vote for either candidate and or no candidate. Only when we do that as a collective will issues like this go away. So with that, brothers and sisters, I thank you all for listening. I thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And this has been the Radical Report. I am your brother DC Radical One. With that, I say a BB for Hodie and straight black pride. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also follow us on our other social media platforms. On Instagram, we're at dc.radical1. On Twitter, we're at dc_radical_ONE. And the Cash App is $DC Radical, the numeral 1. Thank you again.